Welcome to the Super Mega Ultra Show podcast, episode 13. We're in October 1st, and this is the first of the month, and we've got a full house today. It's myself, Wyatt. We've got Bill over here.
Hi.
We've got Dennis.
What's up?
Yep, and today we're going to be talking about the October releases for video games, movies, TV shows, all that stuff. Oh, we didn't do movies. Why did I say that?
Damn it!
So
well, we can.
We can, but I can't remember any of them, so we'll have to do that later on.
Must be really
But anyway, let's talk about what we've been doing recently. Let's start with you, Bill.
I finished Metal Gear.
How'd you like it?
It was pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. I realized it started with the one person that said, "Yeah, I'm gonna kind of lean on what you guys are doing first." So yeah, I kind of put you on the spot there.
No, I just been playing Metal Gear, and I got back into Mad Max. I'm probably gonna play a little bit of that tonight, actually.
Same here. I'm like I've been stuck on this really ridiculous glitch with Mad Max, where this thing with the baby bars, and for some reason this last upgrade on this for this mission that's detrimental to the mission, where if you do not purchase these bars and the first time you're at the garage, then you're pretty much locked out of it, and that's so detrimental to the mission and every other upgrade you have in the game. I pretty much had to quit at that point because there's no other way to get anything else in the game other than the other territories in the game, which was just a pain. And so thankfully they finally patched it, and now I'm back onto it. But
Sweet.
it was a good game. I like it aside from the fact that it was broken. You know, I seem to get the broken games though, because I was really into Watch Dogs, and that was a game that I was playing a lot, and it broke.
My favorite thing about the game is the reviews other people give it.
Yeah,
They think it's great, so it's my favorite game ever.
yeah. What everyone says, this game's good, so I like it. You know,
IGN 5 out of 5.
5 out of 5.
I didn't know it's IGN's 9.8. It's okay.
9.9. It's fine. So yeah, I've been playing Doctor Who. Oh, I'm not playing Doctor Who. I've been playing Doctor Who. No, not that.
Is it an RTS?
Not yet. But I've been playing Mad Max. That was fun. And the majority of the time I've been playing Destiny. And Destiny, it's Destiny. So not much to talk about really there, but pretty cool things. Some people are really liking Destiny more now because of some interesting things with the fact that while people in the past have complained that the games are very shallow with a lot of their story details, one thing that's been really cool with what they've been doing right now, at least, is the fact that they've hidden special missions inside some of their daily missions, which is really cool. I think both of you guys will like it. Where we've gone through these same missions, through months and months. You're going through the same ones just to get the right materials that you need to upgrade your stuff. When there's actually a secret passageway in one of the missions, and it leads you into this extremely crazy, difficult mission that you can't normally access, and it's you have to pretty much kill everyone on the spaceship. And once you do, you get rewarded with a exotic sniper rifle. That's the only way to get it. So it was something that made people think that wow, there's a lot more to this expansion than originally thought, which is really cool. So yeah, I thought that was something people might want to know about it. And other than that, I've been watching the Doctor Who current season with Peter Capaldi. Not this current season, but the past season that just went on Netflix. And overall, I like it. Peter Capaldi is a very good Doctor. It's cool to see him kind of be more of the hard-ass Doctor that kind of makes these tough decisions. Like, for example, this episode I saw recently where he's on a train, and he's letting people die on it, and people are kind of his companion's really shocked that this is happening, and the fact that these people are dying, she's like, why aren't you trying to save them? Well, look, I need to figure out how this thing is killing people, so it's he's having to make sacrifices and stuff like that, and that's something you really didn't see with the Matt Smith one. Bill, I know you were also watching this season. Do you have any comments so far? I mean, I know you completed as well.
It's better than last season.
You're talking about the current season we're on, or the?
No, series, was it? They're on series 9 now, right?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so 8 was better than 7.
Yeah, you think
I think
so?
overall, 8 was better than 7. The first couple episodes were okay, but God, I really don't like those episodes that much.
So overall, in comparison to the Matt Smith Doctor compared to Peter Capaldi, do you think you've already that you like Capaldi better than Smith at this point?
I wouldn't say I like him. I wouldn't say I like him more, but I do. It's pretty much how it was when I went from Eccleston to Tennant. I was at first it was really weird, but Tennant grew on me, and now I really liked Matt Smith, but I'm really liking Capaldi so far.
And just to finish up the topic with Doctor Who and everything, There are actually some rumors that Capaldi's actually leaving pretty soon. What do you think about that? Yeah,
I haven't heard that. I mean, he wouldn't be it wouldn't be the shortest run.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, with Eccleston leaving pretty quickly too.
He only had like one series.
I mean, we don't know about that one, but then we also know that what's her name?
Jenna Coleman.
Jenna Coleman's going to leave pretty soon.
That's
so.
fine. I mean, she's. I mean, this will be like, if she's staying this whole series, that would have been like 3 she's been around.
Apparently, if she'd stayed longer, or at this point right now, she's actually the longest companion. I'm not quite surprising. I feel like she only was pretty much in like this last season and half of the season before that.
Yeah, because if she stays on, the 2 who were almost for longest was Amy and Rory, and they stayed for a couple episodes into their 3rd season. And Rory, well, I mean, mainly Amy. Rory wasn't a full-on companion until the 2nd season second Matt Smith season.
Yeah,
he was a companion, but he wasn't like there for every episode.
Dennis, any comments on Doctor Who? I know you don't know anything about it, so.
Well, I was sitting there, like, the first thing that came through your mind, like, I was really excited for him to be a good doctor. I'm like, man, yeah, that last surgery was murder. It was like a 12-hour surgery, so complicated. Like, I picture every episode they come out, like, in the surgeon gown, they got blood on them. I'm like, man, that was a tough surgery, and they wiped the sweat off their forehead. Like, that's what I picture when I think Doctor Who.
I was trying to save Lincoln, but...
Yeah, who's shot in the head? I mean, there's not much.
Is Doctor Who a hard show for you to recommend to people?
I kind of think so, because it's so weird, and like it's like some people.
That's when you have to give conditions. Like, you should watch this, but just keep in mind that this is.
It's like I kind of want to say, hey, do you like kind of B-movie horror stuff, and but at the same time cool sci-fi stuff? And they're like, yeah, well, you might like this. I mean, sometimes I think the problem is
drug user.
I think the problem is that sometimes like people are very into realism and very they like answers, and Doctor Who doesn't really give you answers. Instead, it likes to swerve around the answers and likes to give you interesting, weird things.
It's like I really like Doctor Who, but it's like, look, the first season that you're gonna watch is like Goosebumps. Do you like Goosebumps? That's pretty much what the first season is like.
Yeah.
It's a really fun show. I like it.
One of my bosses when
Stay out of the basement.
when they were really big with Doctor Who and everything, and I was telling them the first time, I was like, yeah, I finally watched that first episode. I was like, it's pretty cool. It's like, oh, you went through the episode and you thought it was cool. It's like, yeah, well, you don't love this show. I'm just like, they're just like made it sound like it was like the hardest, most roughest thing to watch. I was like, oh no.
That first episode has some really good moments, but it is pretty hokey shit. Like for the first episode, but there are some moments where I was like, oh, I can kind of see where this is going to go.
Yeah, definitely. But overall, it's pretty cool. Moving back to what we were doing, we didn't get to you, Dennis. You want to?
That's because I'm bored.
Talk about
Nobody
stuff.
likes me, so you can just move on.
Ah, that's cool. It's just because you don't like Doctor Who. That's why we ignore you.
Well, I mean, I just like a lot of people have been playing Metal Gear Solid 5, and I mean, I'm sure it's really catching on because I don't have a whole lot of friends on PlayStation Network, but now I see like about half of them or more on there, and they're all playing Phantom Pain at all hours of the day. People I never see on. And dude, that game, I just realized that at the end of a mission, it gives you your total playtime. I never noticed that. I just kept skipping.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah. I was on like mission 20-something out of however many there are. It's not even in the end of chapter 1. And it said I was playing for 95 hours. I've got 48% of the game done, and I've played for over 100 now. Dude, that game is so satisfying whenever you do stuff right. It makes everything worth it, and how everyone just adores you makes it even better. So like the most satisfying feeling in the world is going through a mission for the first time in like an area you've never been in. So you're like unfamiliar with the terrain, you have no clue where any enemies are, you don't know what's going to happen. Is they do a really good job putting together missions to make it feel like, holy crap, something new and exciting is happening. And you go perfect sneak, you don't get detected, you don't kill anyone, and you get out of there like in record speed with an S ranking, and one of the people's like, amazing boss, this is why you're the boss, no one else can top you. Like they're like, dude, you're the most awesome thing in the world, I want your babies. And you just finish. It's like you hear that sound that tells you got an S rank, you're like, oh my god, yes, I'm so cool. And you come up with a plan, you do everything right. It is so awesome. And the side missions are fun to do. And I've done like literally every one that pops up. And yeah, they add just the right amount of like goofy stuff, cameo stuff that's unrealistic to a pretty realistic game, I want to say, that it's so fun. Like, you have this gritty, real-time war environment in Afghanistan, and then you're sitting there like airlifting sheep with a balloon, and they're making goofy noises.
I love the fact that you just have like that. At some point, you can build your own practically a zoo.
Well, you kind of like they just kind of make it for you, but the places, the animals that you rescue, I actually don't know where it is on the mother base.
No, you have to.
I've never been there.
You know when it says like whenever you
build platforms.
Well, not build platforms. Whenever you go to like whenever you have to choose a landing zone in mother base. At the top, it should say like press triangle to visit the animal.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it took me. I didn't notice it until like halfway through that game. I was like, oh, that's where it is.
Wow.
It's really cool to build up mother base too, and that it does take real time to do it. Like,
it's a long time.
Yeah, I had no expectations for this game whatsoever because I played Metal Gear Solid 4, and it was fun to play, but holy crap, it just seems so goofy. I don't know.
So jumping on the back of the overall view of the Metal Gear Solid series, where would you place 5 on this overall as your like from your favorite to least favorite game?
Honestly, this one's now my favorite.
Your favorite?
I think they almost perfected it. Well, as far as like modern goes, like I don't know. I think this is how a modern game should be.
I would say, in like how I've always wanted to play Metal Gear, like with how well, like because like when I played Ground Zeroes, I was like thinking to myself like, this is how I wanted to play 3 and 4 with this control scheme because it's so good.
Yeah.
And everything was how fast you move, how smooth everything is. I'd say like on that, it's the best one. Story wise, I would still probably put one of the older ones above it.
I could probably put 1 as the best as far as.
But as far as gameplay goes, oh, dude, 5 is so good.
Yeah, 1 was my favorite as far as like just the initial like get me into the story thing. But yeah, like Yeah, I get what you're saying, man. Like, 1 is really hard to top. I just feel like overall 5 is now my favorite.
I mean, in my personal view about it, well, I haven't completed the game, so I don't want to throw in my piece on whether I think it's the best game.
Oh, dude, I'm going to tell you all the cool stuff that happens if you're never going to get to experience it.
But what I do think is that thinking retroactively with the older games, I feel like the way they played is kind of like I would still like to keep that as the way they were because I liked the way the cover-based shooting was in that. You know, you'd have these whole gunfights, and you know you'd be Snake, and he would be on like behind a pillar, and so you'd have this entire gunfight just around these pillars and stuff like that. And I think that's cool. I don't feel like this one has
lack
that
of pillars, though.
Yeah, the lack of pillars and lack of inside battles. You know, most of this is so outside, and that's cool. But like, I feel like each game has its own distinct thing to it. So
yeah, I mean, it's much bigger sandbox game, give you a lot more freedom.
Yeah,
I guess the thing I like about the open world stuff so much is it's not as easy to just abuse all the just the environment. Like, it's so easy to sneak through stuff inside, indoors, like that. But when you're outside, things can happen like that supply truck if you don't know it's coming. You know, you're going to be sneaking and trying to choke some dude out, and all of a sudden there's a truck barreling down the freaking road that you didn't know about. And I'm like, oh crap, they just saw me. That sucks.
That happens.
Have you ever tried defecating with a horse on the road?
I heard that's what it does. It makes the truck slide off the roads. But you know, I never use the horse anymore.
Yes.
All I use is Didi. I use the dog now.
So, seeing all the wacky stuff that Kojima puts in here, do you guys feel like if Konami decides to make a Metal Gear 6 and they just take this engine and bring it to, you know, another game, do you guys think they could still be as fun as this one is?
I think it could be as fun. I don't know if it'd be as good overall.
Yeah.
I feel like it would be like sound in a lot of ways, but I feel like there's always, because whenever you talk about Metal Gear with someone, they always bring up that one little thing that they really liked about it, or like one little thing like, oh, I can't believe this happened, even though it wasn't a big part of like the actual gameplay or story. Mm-hmm. I feel like those would be missing. Like it's like whenever you talk to somebody about Metal Gear Solid 3, like, oh dude, I killed the end. Oh, how'd you do it? I fucking didn't play for a week.
Yeah, he died.
Shit like that wouldn't be in the game.
It's so cool. Knocking Ellie when you're fighting quiet, you can call in a supply drop and knock her out with it. That was fucking awesome.
I hear it's also easier to fight her in the nighttime than it is the daytime for particular reasons.
I don't know.
Probably she can't see you as well.
Yeah. Well, no,
not that, but visibility's lower. And
well, here it's also because of her specific traits.
Oh, duh.
Yeah.
I wasn't even thinking about that.
Yeah.
That's right.
So I think that's cool. Just moments like that are just really smart and really innovative.
That's what I like about the missions. It feels like there's so many different ways to do stuff, and things happen. And especially during story missions, they like make stuff happen in a way that seems like it naturally does. Like it wasn't planned, and maybe it wasn't, but every time I, like in the beginning missions, found like a good way I thought it was going to work to sneak, they would like create a tense moment where someone would just veer off course and go do something else, and that I was completely not expecting. Mm-hmm. So I realized the best way to do stuff is to barrel through everything. Just go prone, crawl everywhere, and have no fear. It seems to work out.
I feel like this game goes along with a lot of the other open world games that we've had in recent day. Far Cry 4 and 5, for example. Yeah, well, except it is the perfection version of these. But I think that... Do you guys think that this is kind of going to be a continued and larger trend now of games where they're open world and they're more strategically trying to figure out how to infiltrate these bases and stuff? You know?
I would say it's more of a... Metal Gear does a really good job of because most open world games feel empty because there's not a lot of things that can happen as a result of you being there, or like things that can just happen out of like just, oh wow, I can't believe that happened, because it just, that's how the AI works and all that stuff. There's a lot of stuff in Metal Gear where you'll just be doing something and just like the amount of things that can come out of the gameplay about how you play it, and it can change other things around it. Like, I think having a game where things can happen but you don't necessarily have to be there for it to happen is important, because it makes it seem like anything can happen.
Yeah, they give you stuff to manage too, like the mother base construction, and you do that. And you have ulterior motives to play specific ways, like, do I really want to kill everybody? Because I really need a lot of good soldiers for my base. And if I kill everyone, obviously I can't have them. So, like, that's really good. You can't, unless you have some, like, other motive to not just murder everything in sight and play by running and gunning, then it's probably not going to create a good experience like Metal Gear has so far. And they have such a good immersion, like, so every time between missions, if you want to go back to Mother Base, you have to call in an airdrop. You're not going to beat a mission and then suddenly be back where you want to be. It's not going to say mission complete and teleport you back safely. Like, you have to get out of the hot zone where no one's trying to find you. You can either do that by getting out of there and not being detected, or you can hope to make a daring escape with your helicopter and not get shot down. And that's just really cool. Like, I thought I would be annoyed by having to just call a helicopter, wait for him, and watching that, intro scene whenever you go back to Mother Base every time. But it feels so immersive, like you are Big Boss. Like, it's really cool.
Now, here's an interesting thing. Thinking back a year ago when the original, not Phantom Pain, but Ground Zero was released, did you really ever think that this game could come out of what we were playing back then?
I didn't, because I didn't play it.
Well, I mean, you still saw us play it, so...
I played Ground Zeroes, and I really hated that I played it at the time I did, because it made me really excited for 5. Mm-hmm. I had a feeling that the game was going to be, like side ops, stuff like that. Like, oh, you're going to be doing this and this. But I didn't really know what kind of level it was going to be on.
Yeah,
I didn't think it'd be as good as it was. I would never expect that. Like, not only did I have no expectations for it, but it just kind of blew away everything else, I want to say. I don't know how it's doing, but... Like, I think, I hear it's pretty well.
I mean,
perfect reviews.
I don't know what sales are like, but I mean, we're getting really good. Everyone's giving it really good, reviews, and people are talking so highly of it, and just everywhere I go, I just hear so much good feedback from it. It's a very addictive game at this point. I think it probably is going to be one of the best games of the year at this point.
Yeah, and
Dodie,
I would like to talk about just things that I wish could have happened. But y'all aren't there yet, so that's for a later.
I mean, we could probably do a Metal Gear Solid 5 spoiler cast if you want one day.
That'd be pretty, because there's a lot of stuff.
Definitely does seem like that.
I love all these.
So we're gonna move on right now, and we're gonna get to our main topic in just a minute. But first, I do want to talk about an interesting movie that recently came out just yesterday that I think is interesting, at least just to discuss for a few minutes, mainly with Dennis, because I know, Bill, you're not too into it. But Attack on Titan movie released yesterday in select theaters. One of the local theaters around here got it. We have not got to preview it yet, but I mean, I've heard some interesting things about how terrible it kind of is.
Yeah, it's what we were going to do instead of doing this podcast right now.
Yeah.
we were going to be at the movie until probably about 6 minutes from now.
Yeah.
So
it's it definitely was going to be an interesting thing with the way it was, but I mean, I don't know why where it went wrong, I would say. I mean, do you have any ideas at this point, just from looking at what the critical feedback is from it at this point?
Well, I feel like they were limited by being a movie with live actors, to be honest. Like, the show, to me, I loved so much, and it was so, like, out there, so beautifully animated. It was so, like, the music, everything went together so well. Not to mention, I guess I gotta say that whenever you watch a show, I watched it in Japanese and with subtitles, and it seems like the Japanese actors, like, either it sounds better or it just they are so much better with the characters they're supposed to portray, because it's their culture maybe, that just seems to be better. There were so many things that kind of like took me out of the immersion as far as Attack on Titan goes. Immediately I looked at that it was all Japanese people, or people who look Japanese. And so, like, one of the main story elements, I don't want to say it's the main story element, but one of the background stories is there are not really a whole lot of Asians in there. As a matter of fact, Mikasa is supposed to be the only Asian person left. And it's supposed to be kind of set in, like, a Germany-type Europe thing. And everyone's last name reflects that.
Makes sense why it's Eren Yeager, of course.
Yeah,
it's Eren Hunter.
And there's supposed to be maybe, like, 1 million people in the world. And the reason why her mom was supposed to be kidnapped but killed, and the reason why she was kidnapped is because she's a commodity. She's the last Asian person left, and I heard that they portrayed her character completely wrong. So she's supposed to be pretty tough, one of the best fighters in the series, and I mean, she has a soft spot for Eren, but never has she been like a sissy. And I heard that in the movie they made her into a whiny, crying girl. So.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think
she's still a good fighter. But
it's interesting that
wrong.
even in like Japanese, art and film, you still get this heavy injection of drama in it that you don't normally get in other, and that you get in the actual like series itself. I don't know if it's because with the anime, it's only trying to appeal to anime fans, while with movies they try to appeal to everyone. Maybe that's something to do with that.
When anime, they stick true to the manga that was written. They have kind of a way animes seem to go, and it's got its own thing, and it works really well. And what we were just watching about the whole Daredevil thing earlier, they said they don't want, like Hollywood doesn't want a low budget movie. They want to make lots of big explosions and exciting stuff, and you know what? Like, that just sometimes doesn't work. So when they try to like play up everything in every scene in a movie, it doesn't seem to go well with Attack on Titan, because it's bad pacing, but Attack on Titan like had me so excited for all the little moments that was played up by like just the environment, and especially the musical score that like really incites the terror that the characters are feeling. And whenever everything's supposed to be terrifying all the time, it doesn't seem to work out that much.
I want to add, from just looking at some of the trailers and stuff, that there's, from the way the Titans look, and from the way just the buildings and the setting looks, it looks too familiar, and like it looks too much like modern Japan, even still. And I think that's something that draws me out of it. And some of the characters, the Titans, they look very human, and that's what's creepy about them in ways. Yeah. But sometimes, if you don't take enough away from that, they still look too much just like giant, like naked people filmed, and they enlarge too much. And that's something that throws me out of it.
Well, one thing I noticed, and I don't know, I kind of stopped reading the manga at one point, and I don't know how heavy of a story element this is, but they mentioned that there are not really any female Titans. just the regular Titans. There's a special Titan, but they noticed that none of them are female except for that one. In case people haven't seen it, I guess I don't want to spoil it, but like there was just only the one female Titan, and that was special. But I noticed in the trailer there was actually quite a few. Now I don't know if that's gonna like be completely a story element that's gonna make it have nothing to do with the actual anime. But that caught my eye, and it was supposed to be kind of like a medieval times almost type setting where everything's made with big stones and people were using swords and stuff like that. You kind of get that feeling, like there's a royal family with a castle and stuff like that. But
I mean, I've always imagined it as even though it looks medieval. They've always kind of made it sound like there was a civilization before that. So I always kind of imagined that once we got out of that setting, that you probably would have seen desolated modern America or modern Europe or whatever, which I think would have been really cool to see. Hopefully in the future, maybe if they do that, I don't know.
That may be, just that you saw you see the modern stuff, and it just doesn't kind of go with what else is
so that's
in there.
Yeah. I want to do one quick tidbit that I thought was really funny, is that when I wrote down this list, of course, Bill, who knows not too much at all about Attack on Titan, just looks and I say Attack on Titan, and I wrote certain notes about it, and all he just sees is Attack on Titan Asians. So I just thought that was really funny, but...
Like, what's wrong with Attack on Titan? Asians.
Asians. That's the problem with this movie.
Yeah, the people that made it, they shouldn't really be in it, though,
I'm not racist, but I really don't think there should have been Asians in this movie. They're poorly casted. It's just not right, It's not fit.
Box office.
Protest this movie now.
Box office poison.
Telling you, man. I just didn't think it would translate well for Western. I thought it was going to suck.
I think it was definitely a hard one.
Dragon Ball.
I think, though, if Japan hadn't tried it, though, I think America would, at some point would. I mean, they're trying Death Note right now. I hear they just cast a light.
I just can't believe this is going to be good. Everything was so good with Death Note.
I'm actually look up the name.
Except for like everybody who's watched it knows when it gets not good. So it was so good. Like the voice acting was spot on, perfect. Even in the English one, which is one of the only English dubs that I'll watch, like they were so perfect for their characters, and it's just hard for someone to, I guess, be that actor.
This is who Mike's going to be.
The voice actor.
Nate.
That is not right. No, that is not right.
So I mean, Japan can't do anime too well. Anime movies, America can't do anime movies, So who knows?
Keep them animes.
Let's just keep them anime. I mean, live. I mean, the thing I think
cartoons.
The thing I think people don't realize, and while movies draw massive attention to things, having a huge budget and being able to see these things in real life, the fact is that it's live. It's animated action is still like a cinematic look to it, which works well. So I mean, like if we can't do a comic book, in a movie way, at least we could do it in an animated way. So I mean, I think people should rely less on live action and more on animation, and that would give a lot more jobs and stuff, in the film industry. I just wish people would be more aware that that's the stuff in there. Like Justice League movies, we don't have a Justice League movie in live action yet, but we have tons of great animated ones.
And see, Western comic books are a little probably easier to do on the cinema. They have a different action and acting style. Like the characters are different. They're more Western, which is our Western style movies go perfect with that.
Yeah.
Lots of big, flashy explosion type stuff.
Yeah.
Whenever you can't, it's hard to do that with something like Attack on Titan, where people's main weapons are swords.
Yeah. It certainly draws some things in corners and everything. So I mean, we'll see how this is a part 1 of 2. So hopefully, they realized, halfway through that first one that they're like, hey, this is pretty bad, so let's try another one. Oh wait, I forgot one last thing about this Attack on Titan thing before we get.
It's okay.
The hilarious thing about this thing, and you probably haven't read of it yet, Bill, but apparently there is an issue in these movies where the closed caption freezes in the middle of this movie, and one specific line goes on for about 30 minutes, even though they're talking and saying different things. And the line is, "I've been waiting for this for a long time."
The subtitles just frozen on the screen for 20-30 minutes.
Yeah, 20-30 minutes. And this happened in, I think, like California and other movie theaters that weren't able to resolve this issue. So it's like, not only was this movie bad, but it was also broken. It's like a broken video game. It was pretty bad.
It's like a joke. Yeah.
So
yeah, it's a movie.
So it was all, yeah, it's just crazy. All right, so let's get down to business on this. This is now October, so October is an area where we're getting tons of great video games and tons of great content, movies, all that stuff. Right now I have a list of different video games, and we're going to talk about, I'm going to list them and see if there's any interest in them. And it looks like we're going to start with Dennis's most important one right here, Disgaea 5.
No, that's garbage. I don't want to play.
Oh, okay. Then why did I put it on here?
I've been looking forward to this. I always look forward to Disgaea games.
So tell me what exactly is the Disgaea games. I mean, when you look at it, it looks definitely a very Japanese RPG-like.
It's a strategy RPG.
Strategy RPG.
Like where everyone's on squares and you move a certain amount of space and you have an action and all that. But yeah, they're really good because I like strategy RPGs, especially like Final Fantasy Tactics when I played it. It's just like a really cool, fun genre that, well, I want to say most strategy RPGs, you actually kind of have to strategize, you get a little bit of limited space, you have to try to, work things out, and sometimes it can be kind of difficult if you don't know the elements of the game that you can abuse and that kind of stuff. So if you play it like it's supposed to be played, like they meant you to play, it can be enough of a challenge to keep your interest if you like challenging games. Disgaea, I want to say, is not so challenging, but it's so goofy in every element of the game, and it's got a lot of childish humor, and the voice acting goes perfectly along with it. I don't want to say it's like the best voice acting in the world. They become children, but adults. I don't know. It's hilarious to hear that.
I think some of I've only played Disgaea 1 on PSP a while back, and I could tell that a lot of the humor was very tongue-in-cheek and very, towards the game industry itself. The fact is that one of the enemies itself was called Overboss,
Yeah. Well,
and Laharl, the main character, is, of course, the Prince of Darkness, who's trying to overthrow Hell, I believe and become the new Lord.
Overlord? Yeah. Well, there's actually a character you get, I think it's in Disgaea 4, that's called the final boss.
Ah, that's awesome.
And she's actually not the final boss. She's like, her goal in life is to become the most powerful final boss in the world. But since you beat her, obviously she's not. Like, one of the Disgaea games that there's always like a hero too, and the hero's usually a joke. Like in the first one, I loved it. He was like an absolute joke, and they made him like this Western big shot, hero gunslinger dude with like a blonde woman on his arm, not on his arm, but yeah, he had like a female sidekick.
I just imagine that as like if you, because you can recruit like tons of different characters now. Imagine you recruit like the hero, and like his equipment is like a blonde woman as damsel in distress equipment or something.
Yeah, she's one of the playable characters, but the way he talks is like standard Western heroic kind of stuff. He's like, die fiend. Ha! Like all that kind of stuff. It's so comical, and like even everything down to the descriptions of the weapons are funny. Like there's like and items, like I think there's one called Angel Dust, and it alludes to the fact that it's like PCP and that kind of stuff like that. There's a weapon called a Warhammer, and it costs 40,000 units of their currency. Cool. Just like they have so many Easter eggs and goofy stuff that it's just it's fun to play when you read all the dialogue and listen to it.
Which is why I've always tried to get into that series.
It's very, very fast-paced.
Yeah. So I mean, if you like tongue-in-cheek kind of anime style strategy RPG games, Disgaea is definitely one of the ones I would say to check out. For sure.
I want to say it makes up for the challenge by being extraordinarily fast-paced, so and outlandish with the amount of enemies that you have to fight. So. Yeah, it's for PlayStation 4.
Cool. Yeah, they I think they had several out at the time. I think it was 1, 2, 3, 4, and then We have 5 now, but then they were doing like a D2 at one point.
Well, they did D2 after 4, and then of course they have some remakes on PSP and I want to say Vita.
Yeah, which is cool. All right, the next one on our list is Rock Band 4. Now, I think we've all played the original Rock Band. We liked it a lot. You guys think this is coming up a little too soon from the old ones, or are you guys about ready to start this new one?
I think that it wasn't really Rock Band's fault that the whole genre kind of went away.
I think so too, definitely. I mean, Activision's kind of with their whole, we need to have a thing for every one of our genres,
or just like
year round.
With so many, like I think in the span of like just a couple of years, there was like 12 Guitar Hero games. One with Rock Band, and they only had like, of course, they were up to 3 games, but I remember they were saying with Rock Band 4 they wanted to do more of a platform than you buy this game, then buy the next game. Like you buy this game, and we're gonna release stuff for it, not we're gonna make more games for you to buy and buy this shit. Which I think is a good way to do it.
I got upset with the music choices. Like there was always in the earlier ones, it seems like they used all the really good music that came with the game on the first couple of them, and once all the songs, even Guitar Hero, like eventually I just got tired of all their song choices. I didn't like a single song on some of them.
I feel like, because we're also going to bring up like Guitar Hero later on here as well, and I feel like with this music genre, like, I mean, not only is there a difference between just the fact that Guitar Hero now is just solo guitar and the fact that Rock Band is an entire band, I think it's interesting that, like, with Guitar Hero, Guitar Hero tries to really stick to, like, modern rock and, like, tries to stick with what's cool right now. Meanwhile, Rock Band really tries to do, like, the best songs of, every like, genre in years, I mean, there are some songs that are classics that I've never really been discovered to that I realized were good, in the past because of Rock Band.
Well, the thing is, like, I don't even know why, like, with the new Guitar Hero that's coming out, like, with how they're treating it, it's like they're still doing exactly what they did years and years ago.
I mean, so let's just talk about this, like, the way Guitar Hero is. It's really weird. I mean, you know about it, right? The whole first-person thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's a decent... basically, everything about the game sounds cool, like, okay. But the fact that Rock Band just came out and said, oh, yeah, all that old DLC you bought, it's still going to work with the new systems. Those old instruments you have will still work. You
know about the first-person thing, right? No. With the well, okay, so with Guitar Hero Live, what it is that rather than actually do any video game concept or, like, do any designs or anything, what they did was they filmed in front of a live studio, like a live audience, and just had you play as if you were the first person with the guitar, and he's you're strumming and everything, and depending on how well you're doing, this is how well the audience is reacting to you. So if you are doing good, they're going to be continuously cheering on you. But if you're doing bad, at some point the live feed is going to skip, and suddenly you're going to look at, like, people are booing you and throwing stuff at you and everything.
Sounds really stupid.
And, like,
I would purposely suck every time I play just for fun.
Yeah, and your other musicians are going to be, like, around you going, like, hey, man, you need to, like, pick it up or something like that. So it's probably one of the first...
on the drummer. You suck.
It's probably one of the first, like, live-action video games we've had in a long time. It's kind of ridiculous, but,
I mean, like I said, like, that's decent, like, what they're doing with the game. It's just that, like, it's like one of those things, like, if I was a consumer and I had played the older games and I was be like, oh, I could get Guitar Hero and play that, but I do have, like, this is only for, not everybody's going to be like this, of course. People are like, well, I bought all these songs on 360 for Rock Band and it'll still work. I might as well just get that so I can still get money out of the songs I bought back when everything was still popular.
The only thing I can tell that could be good about this Guitar Hero game is, from what I've seen, is this controller that I think is interesting, that it's got the 3 buttons on top and 3 buttons on bottom. And I feel like from a guy that never could do the harder modes, always having trouble hitting the pinky button and stuff like that, it's going to be really cool to at least have these 6 chords all be within reach of, like, my first, 3 fingers, up to my ring finger, which would be really cool. And I'd like to see how that works. I'd like to at least get to try that controller, but I don't, other than that, that's the only thing that really interests me about Activision's new Rock Band thing.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see. I mean, hopefully they'll do more with it, but it is nice that, I did really like those games. It just sucks they went away for so long.
Yeah. I mean, definitely want to try some Rock Band party stuff. That'd be fun to get some people together to do that.
They're always fun.
Like, hey, you want to do that party that no one wants to go to because he broke out Rock Band?
Yeah. At least now I can get a new pedal because my old one's broken and weirdly split in half and everything.
Apparently, if you had it was for your Rock Band drum?
Yeah.
Apparently, if you could have gotten a replacement for that.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
It was a neat thing that I thought was really cool of them. I had the original Rock Band set, and I think something broke on it, or something was an issue that was a manufacturing issue, and I emailed them about it, and then they sent me an entirely new set. So I had I sent them off one set, and then they sent me 2 sets back. So I ended up having two drum sets. Yeah,
you need to start calling up Xbox and PlayStation and see if they'll send you 2.
It was a cool error, but it was nice to have 2 drum sets. I gave one to one of our
they
friends.
hear the podcast and they gotta hunt you down.
They're like, we need this back.
We
We billed you for that,
With interest.
just like you know. I'm like,
That'll
well,
be $6,000.
Six
with interest and everything.
$6,000.
So I guess I'll skip this because I don't think you guys really know anything about it. It's Saint Seiya.
Nope.
It's another one of those anime games.
No idea.
Cool fighting. It looks neat, but I never really got into the anime at the time. This one I think only I can talk about because I know you guys aren't into Transformers, but Transformers Devastation comes out as well on the 6th. Which means that I'm going to be broke on the 6th because Rock Band comes out and Transformers Devastation. And while Transformer Devastation is not a full game, it looks like the classic G1 style. Everyone's cel-shaded, and they look like the 1980s characters. It's going to be really cool.
It's Platinum, right?
It's made by Platinum, so it's going to have this Devil May Cry almost looking fighting style. And I love how they can... the characters mid-combat can shift into their truck modes or their car modes and then hit the enemy with these fast-paced action scenes. It's gonna be really fun.
So you don't really have high hopes for it, huh?
Oh yeah, highest hopes. Actually,
you could say you're skeptic.
Yeah.
Actually, the only time I've even gotten to look at his stuff, but the Angry Video Game Nerd, he actually has a special video. I guess he got a copy early of Devastation,
that, yeah.
And so it looked awesome.
Son of a bitch.
They kept talking about it. So,
Not me.
yeah. So unless it just turns out to be really crap, the first 3 hours after you get into it, then I really have high hopes for it. So that'll be really cool.
Cool.
This year is the I think it's the 15th anniversary
For Back to the Future?
Back to the Future, yeah.
30th.
30th, okay. So 30th anniversary, that's a lot more time. But, yeah, you can go Back to the Future.
Almost twice as much.
Well, when you were young, it was 15.
Yeah, it felt like 15 years ago, But, Back to the Future, it's been 30 years, unless you've been reading Facebook pages in which that happened every year. 2015 is every year to them.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, that's pretty funny.
Yeah. But Telltale's going to re-release their Back to the Future episodic saga onto the current gen models and I guess on disc or something.
Oh yeah, that's going to be a disc version.
And so that's going to be pretty cool. Are any of you guys going to check that out?
I will, just because of what they added.
What they add?
They actually got Tom Wilson to come back and voice Biff.
Cool.
For this version.
Okay, so they recorded over the other guys' lines?
Because apparently from what I read that he actually would have done it in the first place, but
Yeah.
apparently his agent didn't think he wanted to do it, so he just didn't tell him about it. So in
He's fired.
Yeah, apparently that's
McFly!
But they were showing off the trailer for it. They showed Tom Wilson in the recording. I read the thing says he actually came back and re-recorded all the Biff lines and stuff. So instead of hearing some sound it's actually going to be him this time.
Wouldn't that suck though? That if you're the stand-in for this guy, and they turns out we got the guy. So I'm sorry, dude, but
Hey, that guy still got paid for the last game.
That is true, but it's like imagine if you're a voice actor and you have one thing about
One thing to your credit.
Hey, what I heard you're a voice actor in video games. What'd you do? Oh, I was Biff in the Back to the Future game. Really? Because he sounds you sound just like the original Biff. Yeah, they kind of cut me out.
That'll let me go. Well, if it's as good as the NES game was, I'll definitely pick it up.
Oh, I sure hope they can throw some more bowling balls in this one.
I love the soundtrack in the first one, so if they bring that back, that's definitely going to be it.
I can't wait to kill myself.
Yeah. I definitely want there's so much Back to the Future stuff this year. I'm really excited about it. Not only is it this year, but then we also have the new Lego Dimensions game, and that has levels dedicated to Back to the Future. And one of the cool things from what I'm hearing about Lego Dimensions is there's just so much depth to it that makes it. It's like they almost took every single one of the sets from Back to the Future and put them in there so you can get to see them. Like just taking. I hope this is in here, but I haven't heard about it. But I just imagine it is. But getting in the DeLorean, going to the future and being able to see that, and then taking the DeLorean and then going back to years before, and then you can just being able to travel to all the different areas of Hill Valley would be awesome. Especially considering it's just one setting, but you just constantly see it. Age, which would be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So those are some really cool things about Back to the Future. It's the year of it. I think we got 14 more days before it's actually official that we have hoverboards and jackets that auto inflate.
We'll see.
And self-lacing shoes.
Hey, Nike's working on those.
That's true.
It's going to be a pain in the ass because I hate tying the shoes. I'll just shove my feet in there. If it keeps itself tying it, then I won't be able to do that anymore.
But other games are coming out on the 13th are Dragon Quest Heroes. Now, Dennis, our representative of the Japanese RPG, are you going to play that?
No, it's not necessarily going to be a JRPG, so I probably won't.
I did hear.
I'm excited for the remake of 8.
Yeah, I don't know when that is, though, unfortunately. I only picked up a list for the PS4, so I don't really know when those are coming.
No, I don't think it's even releasing this year.
Yeah.
But good God, I'm ready for that game because that was like the best Dragon Quest ever.
Well, I do say the reason why some people don't consider it an official Dragon Quest game is obviously because it is made in the style of a Dynasty Warriors game in some way, very much to this point of the Hyrule Warriors, the Legend of Zelda Hyrule Warriors, where you get to see some of the older characters from the series, get to fight in this new next-gen way and fighting and slaying hundreds and hundreds and thousands of enemies, which is cool. I do hear that it does have a little more aspect of more Dragon Quest kind of things to it, or more RPG style to it, rather than trying to stick directly to the Dynasty Warriors model. So hopefully maybe we'll get to see some cool stuff out of that, and hopefully it'll get to turn out to be a good game. I already know that in Japan they're already working on the sequel to it, and this is an interesting thing about Dragon Quest.
Dragon
Quest
you guys Warriors, they're having a sequel to it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Or Dragon Quest Heroes.
Heroes?
Yeah. But the interesting thing about this is that, did you guys know that in Japan, Dragon Quest is so big that whenever they release a new game for it, they usually try to do it on like a school, like on a day off of school. So, because otherwise, like half the school's missing those days. Everyone skips that day.
That's funny as hell.
They actually the school boards plan out to make sure that they have those like a teacher planning day on those days. So kids.
Shit, they should do that here in America, like when Legacy of the Void comes out or something like that. Like, hey, we're not going to come in. The new Halo's dropping.
That probably happens in South Korea. You never know.
Shit, fuck yeah, I believe it. I think there's actually a college where it teaches a class on StarCraft. I could be wrong about that.
No, I think I heard about that too. Yeah, that sounds crazy.
I need to go to college.
My
parents always tell me to go to college. They were right.
I need to learn about I need to learn where the Protoss came from.
It's how it plays, man. I'm not good. I'm not MLG yet.
Shit. I gotta get good at that game. Maybe one day. Or at least play it.
Has it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you gotta get Heart of the Swarm.
Heart of the Swarm. That's what I need first.
You have the original one,
Yeah.
which is good enough, but you need to get Heart of the Swarm.
Yep. Okay, so next game coming out on the 13th is a game that tons of the kids are gonna love, but I don't know if we're gonna get too into it, and that's Minecraft Story Mode. Of course, it is made from Telltale, and that's the guys that make all the cool Walking Dead games and stuff like that. It seems like it's gonna be interesting because it's gonna have actors in it and stuff, and we're actually gonna have a story mode to it. I don't know if any of us are really too interested in it though.
I'll at least check it out, but I'm not like.
If you buy it, I'll play it. If they get the Hulu guy to do a voice in there, I'd love to see it. That guy has such a cool voice.
I think that if at least one of the things that I was surprised about, I think it was last year, was the Lego game. Not the Lego game, but the Lego movie was actually really good because it was very cheery and had a lot of cool stuff to it. It also had a lot of brand stuff. Getting to see Batman and Superman, and it had a lot of humor for adults and kids. And I think that maybe Minecraft could do that, but I mean, they're not going to have any of the name brand stuff that would be as neat, to do. So who knows on that one? But
you know what? They have the Dragon Quest Builder or something.
That is another thing I did want to talk about. Yes,
that just kind of reminded me of that. What you're saying.
So
I don't know if it's going to be good or not.
Just from what we've looked at, it looks just like Minecraft meets Dragon Quest. But I hear there's cool things about the Minecraft version of this. With the fact that when you they give you blueprints on how to build certain things, that helps you kind of move along to this. It gives you kind of an idea on what you can do for creativity. And not only that, but when you build these towns, people start coming into those towns to live. So
Dark Cloud.
So you're pretty much like Dark Cloud in those ways, except for Minecraft style. So. It'd be funny if PlayStation, because I think PlayStation owns that brand, they take Dark Cloud and suddenly Dark Cloud is a Minecraft version now. Here's Dark Cloud 3.
Darkcraft. Minecraft.
So,
that sounds like a really dangerous cloud. It's a cloud of landmines.
We need to mine this cloud.
It's raining mines.
I didn't know clouds turn into giant white blocks. Yeah. But, so it looks like either October 13th is a really big day for video game releases, or maybe I just forgot to date the other days properly. But it looks like we're getting a few other games here. The next one on here is Wasteland 2. Now, Bill, I think you are the Fallout post-apocalyptic person expert on that. Can you tell me what Fallout or Wasteland 2 is about?
Wasteland?
Yeah.
It's about wastelands.
It's basically because Fallout was Wasteland was the first Wasteland. All the guys who made the original Fallout made the first one. They wanted to make another Wasteland game, didn't own the rights, so they're like, well, shit, so we'll just make this Fallout game. But it's basically, that's what Wasteland is, essentially. They recently had a Kickstarter, and they made a second one. And I played first couple hours on PC, and it was really cool. But my computer was shit, so it couldn't keep running. So it'll be nice to actually play it on console. But one thing that I took from it was that it was it's kind of like it's turn-based.
It's over the top, of course, right?
Yeah,
similar to the style of the old Fallouts.
Yeah.
You have this isometric view.
Isometric.
Do you still have the same, the way old Fallouts have and the way new Fallouts have, where you have that pinpointing accuracy kind of thing to it?
I think
the bat system.
I think you can do that.
Okay.
There's a lot of talk, a lot of dialogue stuff you can do. You'll make your own character, and you'll have 3 or 4 other people. I was trying to do it solo, and the game was you really shouldn't do that. You should really have, because you're supposed to be a ranger of the wasteland.
Yeah.
So I just picked 3 or 4 presets to be in my team, and I remember early on, I was supposed to basically go and investigate something in this town, and as I was on the overworld map going there, I got a distress call from a laboratory to the west saying that we're being attacked and we need help. But at the same time, I got another call from the east where I was going saying there's people attacking our town, you need to help us. So I either had to make a choice to go left or right. Well, not left or right, but go either one. I was like, it'll probably be alright. So I just went to the town to save them. And as I was doing that, the other people were calling me, basically saying, where the fuck are you? We're dying. And I finished up there. And as I was heading back, they said, don't even bother coming. Everyone's dead. And when I got there, I saw the aftermath of what happened. And there was new quests available in that town and the other ones were gone. The ones I had were just wiped out. These are new quests. But they were basically just yeah, you weren't here, so now there's mutants everywhere. And then now the thing, so if I had gone there first, I could have prevented the spread of a mutation. But since I didn't, now it was leaking across the wasteland that I had to stop. So I was thinking, well, if I'd gone there and stopped that, then what would have happened to the town? Would have had something, then I would have to do a bigger gang or something like that. But it was really cool, how things actually happened. And the game was
yeah. Just calling you, way the fuck up. Thanks
That's basically what they were saying. Hey, good job don't come in here and hey, I liked watching all my friends die. That was great.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
But it seemed like a really deep,
yeah,
consequence game. If you don't do something, it's not something where you can just be oh yeah, don't worry about it. You can still do it.
Hopping back to this, the Fallout Wasteland kind of genre thing, and I feel like I feel like with those previous Fallouts, Fallout 1 and 2, from the way you've always described them to me, it always sounds like those have so much more depth to them because of their isometric view and because of their just the way their play style is. I feel like those games give you that idea in the same way, which is why, like, when it comes to Fallout 3 and 4 and maybe 4, it feels like those are more trying to be like, this is what it would feel like to be in the wasteland, but instead, like, the other ones are this is what it feels like to make hard choices and terrible, decisions and stuff like that, and this is how you live a life or something like that.
I went back and recently played through 2 after playing through New Vegas, like a full playthrough New Vegas. And I think, like, overall, I think I like New Vegas the most.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
But you can't haymaker somebody in the eye and blind them.
And you can do that in Fallout 1 and 2.
So yeah, that's why the originals are bad. You can't sledgehammer a kid in the head. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's very true. You can't do that. But I could go on and on about, like, differences and stuff. But, like, it's just when it comes down to it, like, I mean, yeah, Fallout 1 and 2 are good games, but. They certainly were updated in a good way.
Yes, yeah. We need to miss game.
Well, we'll definitely have to talk more about Fallout and Wasteland 2 whenever they come out, in October and November, for that. Next up is Tales of Zestiria, I know Dennis is mourning for that game,
Dude, I'm ready for it. The thing about it, there's a lot of things that lead me to believe it's not going to be like the best one out there, but I could honestly care less. I've played through some of them that I didn't even like, and I still found a way to enjoy them. And so that doesn't necessarily mean they're great. It just means I can enjoy them because I'm a freaking fanboy of the series. This one has a lot of things that I'm excited for, and I hear there are a few issues, and there are several things that I'm just hoping are going to be better. So
now the big thing about these games, obviously, for people who don't know about the Tales games, but of course they're action RPG games. They're made by Bandai Namco, and they give you very anime style to them. Side-scrolling, not side-scrolling, but I'd say they're more action RPG, of course. And then
they're open world.
Open world,
RPG.
yes, yeah, that's okay.
They feel like side-scrolling in the original, like Tales of Destiny.
Well, I was thinking just the way they fight. You see almost like a panoramic view, and you see them run across the screen fighting the other enemies.
Big circle is what it is, like an arena.
Yeah, and then of course for this game, this Tales game, they're all different stories, similar to Final Fantasy. And of course, this one you fuse with people. That's a big thing about this game.
Well, there's a fuse, and that's kind of a battle mechanic. That's one of the. I guess you could say it's exciting. From what I heard, it's kind of like you can be so heavily reliant on that you don't get to enjoy the individuals as much. I'm really excited about how, like, anyone who's played a lot of RPGs and JRPGs, they know that random battles or battles that you get to, you're in a field. Something happens to the screen that transitions and you go into a battle scene. Well, this one is just leaving it to where you run into the enemy and you fight right there where you are. Where you were in the open world map in a giant field. You touch them, you split up into a group and immediately fight. They only released that, I guess, in Japan, they only released it on PlayStation 3. And they had a few issues with the camera. As far as fighting, like, let's say you fight in a hallway, since there's no battle scene, the camera has trouble skirting around a small hallway, and sometimes your characters will be completely blocked. I plan on buying it on PlayStation 4, and I hope a lot of the issues just got kind of fixed on the way to the Western release. I mean, that can be hopeful, because a lot of times people like to just port stuff, but I like to think that the little nuances kind of got fixed. And a lot of people had some issues with the story, but I don't think I will honestly be upset with the story at all. They're always familiar. I don't get too pissed off whenever something's just not spectacular in those games. I think I'll enjoy it, and I'm ready for it. It's coming out in a couple of weeks. So.
I think you're kind of fighting the urge, of course, to get the collector's edition.
It
all
looks
these
so good.
All these.
Everything in PlayStation 4 looks incredible a lot of times. It's like these nice, cool blue boxes. Then they have a Blu-ray disc. It's like, that looks all awesome in it. And then they got, like, the 4 main character figures. There's 4 of them, I think, on there. and they got the little figures, but I just know that I'm not going to be able to utilize that. There's no room in my room.
One thing I love about the Tales game that seems like it's very prominent in other ones, they like to call back on themselves in the other games. Like, the fact that this game...
They have a lot of cameos.
A lot of the other games, like, of course, allow you to wear the costumes of older characters that you get to see. So it's like, while you're never getting the same characters, you're always getting, callbacks to those characters. And the interesting thing that me and Dennis have always pointed out is it's funny that, like, these characters, or actually it's mainly you point out because I don't play these games at all very much, but the fact that a lot of times the voice actors are constantly reprising these roles, so we do still kind of feel like the familiar characters in these ways. Troy Baker, of course, is one of the characters in Tales of Vesperia, and a few of the other characters.
Yeah, Vesperia, he played the main guy, and then he was in Tales of Xillia 1 and 2. And it's cool about the voice actors is you can almost always tell what kind of a person that's going to be by the voice actor. Like, hey, this is the main villain. I know I'm talking to him right now. So, like, and Troy Baker's character, like, he always plays, I guess, a good character, I want to say. That he just, like, the character is not the standard, completely heroic, upbeat type. He's usually got his own rules he follows just a little bit. Like, I liked it in Tales of Vesperia. Like, hey, this isn't working out. We can't just capture these two bad guys. I'm going to go ahead and murder them because obviously what we're doing is not changing a thing. So it's okay to murder people, whatever it's not going to work out. And I love that. And this is the main character. And he pisses off a few of the other characters that he runs with, but they get over it. He explains to them, he's like, look, yeah, I did it, but that's the only way this person's going to stop killing other people, so... There you go.
I think Vesperia, you've mentioned, is probably one of your favorite games in that. It's funny.
It is my favorite one.
It's funny that they kind of did D-Dog before D-Dog came out. With the wolf. I can't remember what his name was.
Oh, Rapide.
Rapide, yeah. God, this ninja wolf with one eye who has a dagger he can pull out from a sheath on his side.
I think he has a pipe that he has in his mouth too. So. Yeah, I think that's actually been a concept in several things that I only started noticing whenever I was playing Metal Gear Solid. But I'm like, yeah, this is Rapide. I've got Rapide on my team.
So, in Japan, wolves are not only just wolves, but they're wolves with knives. So that's one reason why Japan's scary.
So the one thing about that, and it's just a little it's not off subject, but like, so you have a wolf that's got a knife, it pulls it, learns how to cut people's throats. I always had trouble, like, wouldn't it be really difficult to try to put it back in the sheath right? Like, it'd be really hard. I see, like, I don't feel like they could train a dog to be able to, like, get it in the sheath just right. It'd be so damn hard. Like, pulling it out, fine. I can believe that, but putting it back in, I don't know, man.
Probably selfish,
it's like a disposable knife. Like, you can kill one person and then just drop it, and I'll put it in back
exactly.
Later.
Yeah, there you
go. Good boy.
Good
boy.
Okay.
All right, moving on, we have our typical annual Ubisoft game, Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Now, this one, of course, is in England, the 1800s. Similar timeline as in the Order 1886. We have the Victorian England kind of area. Yeah, heavily inspired by gangs in New York and other movies set in that time period. You have not this time you not only have one assassin, but you have two assassins who are twin brother and sister. So now you get this female character that they said they could not animate at one point.
Hey sis, let's kill people together.
Okay.
Right on, bro.
And so you have them fighting it out to, I guess, destroy the gangs of New York. No pun intended there, but you get
England
new equipment. Yeah, my bad.
I'm just fucking with you.
But you get equipment like a grappling hook now that allows you to pretty much bypass all the climbing that you have to do. So it allows you to scale quickly. You get.
They clearly ripped that off of Batman.
Exactly. Well, I mean, he's prehistoric Batman, not prehistoric, but prehistory Batman kind of thing. But you get these. You get horse carriage fights. You get a cane that has a secret sword in it. Metal brass knuckles. I guess you get to make your own little gang. I'm not totally sure about that, but it seems like they're.
One of them's got to be named like Muggsy or some shit. Like
It seems. I have to say about this in a minute, but it seems like
save it for the podcast.
Save it for the podcast, man. But it seems like they're really trying to, get a time period that people would like. It seems like they're improving the things that people hated about Unity. So is this enough to get you guys, as the casual gamers on these Assassin's Creed games, to get wind back?
I'm not casual, okay?
It's
time for your...
Stupid casuals. Or you can play your tablet game.
You've been up too long. It's past your bedtime.
Go back to Call of Duty. But no, I mean, would you guys be willing to play this game at all?
Probably not.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I mean, I like Black Flag enough as far as watching you play the ship battles, but I have it, and I still haven't really gotten around to beating it. I don't have it in me to play an Assassin's Creed game. I can't say for sure that it's like bad or anything. I just got no motivation to play it.
I feel like with these games, though, and this is why I would never touch this game on day one, or they've kind of almost burned me on any Assassin's Creed games on day one at this point, it's just that it's such an unfinished project that, you could have been ready for this game, and this could look every bit as good as probably, this looks like it could surpass all of them. But, you get home one day and it just turns out there's one glitch that destroys the entire game, It seems like that's kind of... And it happens. I always said that earlier about Mad Max and Watch Dogs are games that are like that.
Which, by the way, neither of us had any problems with.
Exactly. But it seems like that it happens way too frequently on Assassin's Creed games, where there's just too many problems with the game that make it not worth playing. So I mean, I'd say hopefully it'll turn out to be a great game and redeem Assassin's Creed. But I really don't have hopes for it, even though I love the setting and I love where they could go. And now they've announced this Jack the Ripper DLC, which I'm a big Jack the Ripper lore person. I like to know about that stuff. It's cool to see an alternate history thing like that. But I mean, who knows where that's going to go?
Yeah.
So
Unity's launch was pretty bad.
Yeah, Jack the Ripper was actually was Raiden from Metal Gear Solid 2. I don't know if you remember that conversation.
Whoa, dude! So wait, you're saying that Raiden found a time machine. He probably got in the DeLorean, went back in time to 1800s, and then was murdering women for some weird reason.
What happened.
No, dude, nanomachines, son.
Nanomachines. There's the answer. I mean, that's the key plot to... spoilers, you just spoiled all of Metal Gear Solid,
Yeah, nanomachines, dude.
Nanomachines, man. Why is there a vampire that drinks blood and is bisexual? Nanomachines.
Nanomachines. Say Metal Gear? Nanomachines.
Why is Batman fat? Nanomachines.
Because he laughs.
I thought this was about nukes, man. I thought Metal Gear was about nukes.
Fat Man. I know Fat Man well.
Still well.
So I put out another game on here. I don't think any of you guys know about. Have you guys heard of Divinity 2: Original Sin?
I have.
So I mean, do you have any interest in playing?
I heard they're good. I heard at least the first one was good, but I don't know.
I actually think maybe it's Divinity 1. I'm not sure. But anyway, I mean, it's a game that...
I know there's a sequel to that one, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, the thing is, these are Kickstarted games that are strategy... not strategy RPGs, but they're RPGs.
Like turn-based RPGs.
Turn-based... I don't know if they're turn-based, though. I think
it may be more like active stuff.
More like Baldur's Gate, I think, is what they are. So
yeah,
I mean, if
that's more like a dungeon crawler.
Yeah, so dungeon crawling kind of games. I think you do get some certain choices for them. I don't know too much about Divinity 1, but I hear it's pretty good. They're kickstarting Divinity 2, which sounds really good. And I hear Divinity 2 is going to be a game where you have several classes characters. You can choose different classes, whether you want to be like a human or a dwarf and all that. And that's a typical thing. But you can have multiplayer in this, and the character that you're playing with and the character you're that your friend's playing with might not have the same experience, because they took, for an example, an interesting situation where you're in this village and there's a quest you have to solve in there. Now in the village, they don't allow dwarves, so they won't let you in. They won't let your friend in, but they'll let the human in. So the human's got to solve this quest. The dwarf has to find another way in or find another story. So it kind of... your paths are constantly diverging is what they're trying to convey on there, which I think is really neat for a dungeon crawler. I'm interested in definitely trying this one out. I don't know enough about it to really say that I'm gonna be excited for it, but it sounds cool. I like new games, so
yeah, definitely
be worth a shot. So that one, and then the most important game on here, which will rule my life for the rest of the year until the next one comes out, which is WWE 2K16. Now featuring for the story mode, Stone Cold Steve Austin, where we get to see his entire timeline of from when he when he had his blonde hair and he was the Hollywood Blondes, all the way to his final years, his final match at WrestleMania 20 something or 19 when he fought The Rock for the third time where he lost. You get to see all that stuff. Plus, you get to see all the great new characters. Like, you get to see the new version of Seth Rollins. You get to see a new title belt. All this awesome stuff, and things. But yeah, I really love WWE, and so I can't wait for this game.
I heard it was going to be a first-person shooter, though, this time.
It's so cool, Steve Austin.
And it's taken over by Ubisoft.
It's beer.
There's going to be, like, hacking games and stabbing assassinations.
Yeah, the Ubisoft's taking it. It's going to be first-person shooter with regenerating health.
You have to go to all the stands to reveal the map, go to the top of the seats and shit. So.
It would be terrible if this game. I'm so excited about it, and then I find a game-breaking glitch in it that takes.
You bought something on the store before the game fucking came out.
It takes a month for the game to be patched, and I'm just like, I'm done with it. Just done with wrestling.
Stop watching.
I give up.
You weren't too excited when the last one came out. You didn't think it was as good as the one before that.
Well, see, the way they did it was that I was very excited about it before October because the engine on it looked like the characters were so real and so much. They were touching on everything that they haven't touched on in years. Like they had this. They had this ability to go onto the computer and input your face on a character, so you could have my face as a created character, which is like something I dreamed of having on there, which would be cool. They had all these things which were going to be cool, but similar to the way anytime you get a new Assassin's Creed game where they tell you they're going to do a new engine on it, suddenly this game they only had maybe a year to 6 months at the earliest they could have to build this game. Turns out, they cut off a lot of things. They had to cut corners. Things that we've had for years, like create a wrestler and create a title belt. The thing is, what we love about wrestling games is you can be so creative and do what you want with wrestling. But this game was so restrictive because they focused so much on the engine and how to make new things. It really kind of was a upsetting thing. It feels like I'd rather play the older games to enjoy that, but seeing as that you'd play those older games and then see some of the old roster, I didn't really want to do that because everything would have felt weirdly outdated. I like to try to get back in those games because that'd be cool. And the older game, I definitely want to revisit because one thing that they've been doing in these 2K games is they take one character's story and they kind of revisit kind of their most epic matches and kind of make it almost like a story in itself. They kind of make wrestling feel cohesive, which it's of course not, and it's horribly messed up. But at least it'd be cool to get to revisit these stories. I hear they're not going to do that with this one, but I hear that the last one was pretty cool. Getting to see the story of this rivalry between CM Punk and The Rock CM Punk and John Cena was really cool, and seeing a rivalry from other guys, which would be really neat to look at. Mm-hmm. So that's that for those things. And that actually ends the end of our video game stuff. Now let's kind of take a look. Right now we're about an hour and 12 minutes in. Do you guys want to kind of continue with these TV show and movie things? I mean, a lot of them are really short. I don't know if we have very much input.
They look kind of cool.
Yeah, so I guess we could. You guys willing to stay a little longer and chat with it? Cool. Okay, so we'll go with TV show first. Anything off the top of your head that you guys are gonna be really excited about that I haven't put on here at this point?
Nothing you haven't put on there. I'm just looking at the Flash.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's talk about the Flash.
That'll be awesome.
Okay, so from what I'm hearing on the Flash is that we're gonna kind of get maybe a Crisis on Infinite Earth story where you're gonna get to see two Flashes. Supposedly, you're gonna get to see Jay Garrick, who's one of the other Flashes.
Kind of like whenever you use the old camera and it flashes twice.
Yeah, like the double flash, man. But I'm hearing that this one's gonna be pretty cool. A lot of new characters, a lot of change up stuff. I think not a lot of change up, but I mean a lot of the old stuff, and it sounds like the fact that you're gonna see more characters is gonna be cool.
I actually had no idea about anything about this season. I literally just saw something say the Flash is coming back in October. That's literally all I saw.
mean, to be fair, I don't know a lot about it. All I know is that the first things we're getting to see is, which makes all the fanboys crazy, is that you're going to see the original Flash, Jay Garrick, who's from
Earth 2, and in the DC universe, of course, there's Earth 1 and Earth 2, and Earth 2 is like this universe where all these older superheroes, are being those superheroes that, used to be around. So, like, there's an old Flash that did not get his powers from a chemical spill. He got his powers from Hermes, the god of speed and stuff like that. It's pretty much what the classic storylines from like the 40s are, combined with like meeting the modern times kind of thing. And that's kind of what's that way on that one. So it's cool. I hear there's going to be a new villain. I don't know if I don't think what's his name's coming back. Reverse Flash.
Probably not.
But we are going to get Dr. Zoom, which Dr. Zoom is, funny enough, unless they change him up and make him look totally different, he's going to be pretty much what Reverse Flash and Dr. Zoom seem like they're kind of like the replacements. It's like pretty much a yellow Flash is going to be is what Dr. Zoom looks like. So, basically Reverse Flash. But
hey, the same guy, but not.
But supposedly who's voicing him is Tony Todd, which is, if you've ever heard of him, he's got this very dark, tone and everything like that. So I don't think we're probably going to see, because he's an older guy too. He's probably in his 50s, 60s at this point. Mm-hmm. So I don't think we're probably going to see him be the Flash. So I'm probably going to see, just from the fact that they're using a voice actor, I think he's probably going to look interesting. I imagine he'll probably look like some sort of like, he'll probably look like what I think they call this guy the Black Racer looks like, which is this black Flash. And he looks, black and dark, and he's almost like this entity in the Speed Force. And the whole story behind him is that he is essentially Death in the DC universe, and he's trying to chase after Barry. And I think that was part of this story at one point where Barry had died for a long time. Spoilers, this is like a comic from like the early 90s, 80s kind of thing.
Oh, no.
Late 90s. But Barry, had died at some point, and then when they found him, he was actually running this entire time from death. He was running from the Black Racer. So, that would be an interesting thing to see. I don't know. It's, I'm trying, the thing is I don't read a lot of the older DC stuff, so I'm just reading what I remember. So that's an interesting thing. Of course, we're getting Arrow season 5 or 4. I'm still not caught up, so I don't totally know. It sounds like it could be pretty cool. And of course, this is the season where he's, I guess he's already left the city he's in, and so, he's going to pick up and hopefully be the Green Arrow, is what I'm hearing. So, a lot of interesting stuff. I need to catch up, and I know you guys don't watch it too much, so not a good thing to talk about. But, because we have Flash on there, I feel like we had to at least touch upon Arrow, so.
I still even watch Flash.
Yeah.
That's pretty decent.
You have to, like...
It's on Netflix soon.
Yeah.
First season.
Yeah. And I saw Gotham's on there, too. Which, speaking of Gotham, this is supposed to be the year of the villains on here, so, we're going to get to see new villains. Apparently the Joker is in this season, and you're supposed to kind of see him kind of... It seems like from pictures... Oh, sorry.
Is it going to be Jack Nicholson?
Yeah. Now, you kind of see this young guy who kind of is like Joker. Seems like he's kind of creating havoc among Gotham. So I think they're going to try and do this kind of like Dark Knight story in Gotham for this season. So that could be cool. Who knows? I'm still kind of weird on the whole plot of Gotham because it feels like almost like a Smallville thing where they almost want to resolve the story of Batman before Batman even starts. Like Superman. Superman, he defeated all his villains and got married to Lois and everything else before he even became Superman.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
It's kind of an easy job.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, let's tell the origin, but tell the origin before, like, tell the origin while at the same time telling that story beforehand. It's weird, especially in this era now where we're trying to stay very, familiar to these superheroes and characters. It's weird that we now have this origin story kind of thing that, like Smallville, jumping back to that same thing. Mm-hmm. I don't know why, but for some reason, I think Warner Brothers has restrictions on using Batman and Superman for like TV shows because you never see them on actual TV shows. I think that's weird, don't you guys?
Yeah, I'm surprised they aren't doing like considering how well Arrow and Flash are doing, it's weird that they don't do a Batman or Superman show.
Yeah. I Well, I mean, they're going around. Of course, they're doing Gotham, which tells the story of Batman, but not. And then you got Supergirl, which is gonna like talk about Superman, but not. It's weird. And even thinking back to the fact that Smallville and Birds of Prey, I think at least Birds of Prey mentioned Batman, but they might. I don't know. It's been forever, but I feel like they didn't really talk. Like Batman and Superman are almost like censored words, which doesn't make sense because it's Warner Brothers Studios. So why on earth would they prevent that? I guess maybe it's just to not get people's hopes up. But
did Batman or Bruce Wayne ever show up in Smallville?
No,
Bruce Wayne, no.
They never said that. They said that he would never show up. That was a weird thing. But
really existed in that.
At one point, they were going to do a TV show called Grayson, which was going to be, of course, about Batman's apprentice who was Robin and became Nightwing. And they were going to probably do that story, but that's pretty much what I think they turned into Gotham because it was, of course, this story that's an origin story, but not Batman's origin story. So it's like they want to touch upon that stuff. Mm-hmm. But I feel, and this is kind of just my feeling on just, these superhero DC shows, how the fact that they're doing really good, is that they should, go ahead and start doing Batman, Superman, and all these other characters because I feel like sometimes their TV show stuff could be more successful and more investing than their movie stuff. I mean, you have so much time on TV to be able to do this stuff, and granted you're not going to have the budget you would have on these movies, but at least you'd have, we'd have more attachment to these characters than you would have if you were, watching, a 2-hour movie of Batman versus Superman, I mean, you're just getting a little bit of that, so.
I just think it would be hard for them to find stuff for them to do every day.
Yeah,
such big superheroes, and it almost seems like eventually you'll have nothing but trivial stuff to give them unless you come up with some new villains.
And I think the one big flaw about national cable or national TV right now, or local TV, is that things like Gotham, they want to do 25 episodes. They want to do this season that spans from like September all the way until May, which is really hard to do. I mean, we're now shortening down to these modern TV shows where we can do 9-10 episodes a season. So I mean, I think that would be a perfect thing. I mean, if you're doing just one big spanning story for these superheroes, I think you could get away with that. But for here, it's like, and with Smallville and stuff, I mean, it's great, but you're gonna get burned out by these characters. I mean,
yeah, for 10 friggin' seasons, I'm sick of them.
Yeah, I mean, like, Arrow I think is cool, but we're digging Flash because he's brand new. I mean, like maybe a couple seasons down the road we could be a little bit less
I'd be fine if they ended it after season 2 if they ended well.
So, I mean, who knows? They're also gonna do that League of Legends, or not League of Legends, the
Extraordinary Gentlemen.
No, well, that one too I hear. But they're doing the Legends of Tomorrow show, which
That's
is
right,
essentially the Justice League, but not calling it the Justice League without Batman and Superman. So another weird thing.
A B-Team Justice League?
B-Team Justice League, pretty much. So very weird that they're doing that, but that's actually in January, so that's another thing to touch upon in the future. I think we already talked about Doctor Who, so I guess we can skip that, and none of us watch S.H.I.E.L.D., so no big deal, no big loss on there.
Just one more thing. Since we're a podcast, we got in touch with Valve, and they wanted to tell us that Half-Life 3 is confirmed for next March. I'm just kidding.
That's awesome.
Man.
But not really.
Let me down on that.
Maybe I'm not.
Are we?
Hey, just some news that I realized I didn't put on here, but is something interesting that kind of involves on TV shows. Apparently, Scott Snyder is talking to HBO about doing a Watchmen TV show. Could be interesting. I don't know. I mean, do you guys... They haven't said if it's going to be a prequel, sequel, or just a retelling of the story, but do you guys feel like we've had enough Watchmen on that? Like, do you feel like the movies have done enough? Or do you guys feel like, you'd have another shot at it?
I don't know. I'd have to see what it was all about first. I don't like to say no to just anything, but it's not like I would. I mean, it could be good, but I don't know. It's just I really like Watchmen the comic, and I thought the movie was decent, but I just never had I never wanted more of it. I felt like I got enough with what.
Yeah, I actually feel the same way.
Yeah, I feel like what the book was perfect. That's all I ever needed from it. I never needed anything more.
Although I would like to see on screen Mr. Manhattan doing everything that he likes to do for fun, like walking up walls through ceilings for no reason. Like, hey, I just walked across this water. Right? I'm so cool. I don't even need to do that. I can just teleport, but let's do it.
Let's just walk through it.
Similar to, in my opinion on this, similar to the way they do Watchmen, the way they do the other superhero stuff, you would get better time to invest in it, which I guess would be one thing that would really probably help with moving the Watchmen story along, which I guess was the biggest complaint about the fact that you're cramming too much into a 2-hour span. But also, you could get away with telling the additional stories of the characters of the newspaper guy and the kid and the pirate, story. That would be something you could tell. Imagine if that was kind of the ending sequence of each story. You told those bit by bit. So, that would be a neat thing in my opinion. So, who knows? We'll have to see on the future of that. Yeah. And I just took out the time to look at some of the October stuff. And we'll just run down these because I don't think any of these are anything you guys would even want to talk about. But let's go down them. Start with the popular old '80s TV show Jim and the holograms. You guys down with that?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
So there's this old TV show. I'm hearing it from some of my female friends who've told me about it. But Jim and the holograms.
Female friends.
Oh man, guys. Quit telling people the truth about my life. It's kind of aggressive. But no, there's Jim and the Holograms is this old cartoon show right around Transformers and stuff like that, where it's like this girl and she has hologram band that she plays with. It's really supposed to be, and it's supposed to be like a rock band or something like that. It's if you ever go to any of these,
like Josie and the Pussycats.
I wasn't gonna say
it. You can't say that word.
If you go to that's a bad word, man. We got to edit that. I got to write down the time list on it. But no, it's supposed to be like an actual rock band that some girls in the '80s used to like, but now they've switched it to this like Justin Bieber girl popular star thing. Stupid. It looks kind of ridiculous. This is just from what I'm hearing from people who've talked to me about it. So I just want to point out that it sounds pretty crappy and bummer for them.
I just want to bring the show up so I can say it's shit.
Yeah.
Right, moving on.
Well, that's every other podcast for you, man. We just got to throw in something and you got to rant about forever about how horrible it is and how much of a fanboy you are, So, okay, and Paranormal Activity, we're finally getting the last Paranormal Activity. Are you guys down for that stuff anymore?
Just fuck it.
Yeah.
I thought everyone was the last.
It's dumb.
I hoped.
This has nothing to do with any of, considering the fact that I've always talked about this being like a comic book movie podcast thing, but Steve Jobs, he's gonna have his own movie. You guys interested in that?
Yeah, because it's gonna not fucking blow him for being like a second Messiah.
Yeah, I hope they let everyone know what kind of an asshole he was.
I think that's what the movie kind of does.
Good.
I think at the end of the movie, he should be sitting at a chessboard and then staring at the piece, and suddenly it moves. And then that's the start of X-Men First Class. Because he's Michael Fassbender.
Oh,
yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. So, that would be cool. I just like Michael Fassbender.
Last of the year.
He's a neat guy.
He's the actor bender.
And, that Joe Rogan guy. He's really cool, too. Seth Rogen, I'm just kidding. There's a funny joke that we've been doing recently. Right? Yeah. All right, anyway, so there's also a Vin Diesel movie coming out where he is a last witch hunter. The Last Witch Hunter. Are you guys interested in that one? Modern tale where he fights off witches and stuff.
Nah, unless he's a babysitter, I really don't want to watch it.
If I'm not in the Xander zone, I don't care.
Well, they're doing like the Triple X, man.
With Ice Cube?
No, it's Vin Diesel. He's not dead. It was the host.
He's not dead anymore, even though they were probably pretty certain to make sure he was dead in that last movie. So
they did.
Knew it. Yeah,
there was like a thing on the DVD that was like that was showed him dying.
But it's on DVD, so it's not canon.
It's right. Not canon.
Not canon.
I'm up to date on my Triple X canon. Triple X lore.
So, Guillermo del Toro's doing a new movie. He's got the guy who plays Loki. Crimson Peak. Story about ghosts being in a mansion. Sound cool to you guys?
It'll probably be good, but I just don't have any interest in seeing it.
Does look cool. I don't know if I'm really going to be... I don't know. A lot of the movies in October aren't really awesome, but, it's worth mentioning. A lot of the cool stuff that they have for Crimson Peak I like, though. If you guys have seen it at the movie theaters right now, they have this nice display where they have all the characters, and what they'll do is they'll have a blue light on them, and they'll show the characters, but then they'll show this red light that's almost like a black light, and then beneath those characters is actually like a symbol or like a thing. So like one of the characters has like a skull, like
foreshadows their face and everything. Another one has like a wing or something like that. So it's almost like, kind of giving you hints of the character, but it looks really cool. It's one of the cooler displays I've seen in movie theaters recently.
That's cool.
So, okay, and then we have another movie out. This is set during the Cold War with Tom Hanks. Yes, that's called Bridge of Spies, where he is.
Well, that was like that's like wasn't that but the McCarthyism type stuff, or is it?
I have no clue.
But anyway, he's trying to negotiate, I guess, the release of spies or something like that.
It actually looked good.
It seems really cool. I would want to check it out, even though I can't remember the plot of it. But
he's not doing that funny accent from The Terminal. So.
He's not Forrest Gump in this movie.
Forrest Gump. I don't care.
Forrest Gump.
All right. So and then we have Goosebumps. The Goosebumps story. You like it?
I mean, I like the Goosebumps books. It looks like a fun movie. I probably won't see it, but it looks like it'd be a fun movie.
I mean, it seems like they're really focused on comedy for this, and I know the Goosebumps were actually, played pretty straight. So, I mean, do you guys really feel that? Not really straight, but I mean, like,
I know what you mean. Yeah.
It was for kids' movies. It was supposed to be scary, So, I mean, do you guys?
I feel like it'd be like if I was a kid, it might be scary, but I feel like that humor's there for the adults that take their kids to see the movie.
Yeah,
so they don't strangle their kids in front of everybody.
So I mean, you'll get Goosebumps. There's a new Peter Pan movie, kind of cool. Hugh Jackman's gonna be Blackbeard, so
Arr.
neat.
What is it rated R?
And then there's The Walk with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, where he has to walk between. Yeah, he takes a walk between the two Twin Towers, I think.
The World Trade Center.
World Trade Center, yeah, between the World Trade Center. Doing the stilt walk across the thing.
There's a documentary on it. I think it's called Man on a Wire or something like that.
Crazy.
It's so hard to believe they can make a whole movie about someone walking.
That's what somebody was saying. Like some people were saying,
other than Lord of the Rings.
A lot of people were saying, like, why don't you just watch the documentary? It's awesome. About a guy who actually did that.
But it doesn't have Joseph Gordon-Levitt on it, man.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Gosh. All right, so that brings us to the end of the show, and before we end the show, we usually do a thing where we do recommendations, and we just talk about things that people should be reading, listening, watching, or playing video games about. Let's start off. I'll give you guys some time to do that by describing some things that I'm, saying they're really good. Guys, definitely check out the Season 8 of Doctor Who. It's got a lot of cool stuff. Peter Pauly's definitely a really good doctor. Another thing I want to say is definitely check out a comic book called We Three. It's by Grant Morrison. It's a very short story about animals. It's kind of like Homeward Bound if it was a grim story about a dark, about them turning into cyborgs and being weapons for the military.
Not Homeward Bound.
Sort of.
It's like Homeward Bound.
They're trying to make a journey home here, guys. They're trying to make a journey home, and the military is trying to kill them, so they try to fight back.
So you're telling me it's like Fly Away Home?
Maybe. But
it's like the never-ending story.
Dark story, but still, pretty emotional for, animals and everything. Very cool. Definitely check it out. Grant Morrison's an awesome writer. Yeah. Guys, which one of you guys want to start first?
Well, first of all, definitely check out Half-Life 3 coming next March. You have to play the beta. If you haven't played Metal Gear Solid 5, play it.
Definitely play that.
Even if you're not a fan of the series, this is a good game overall.
Yeah, they don't try to beat your head over there with like stories like "Remember the Ninja."
Yeah, well, nobody who's like a reviewer usually even likes any Metal Gear Solid games for some reason or another, and they even like it. So give it a shot.
Though I mean, I definitely say that be prepared. It's pretty weird. I mean, you get awesome. You get some interesting enemies that are almost zombie-like, at some point in the game. So
it's awesome.
Check out. Hey, it's awesome. I love weird stuff. I'm just saying that there's some people are just gonna be like, all right, let's do this. I'm ready for Call of Duty. I'm ready for all the shooting, and then suddenly I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So even Call of Duty has zombies though. I can't really say that.
They're weird as well. The only other one I can think of is if you haven't played Diablo since the last patch came out, that last patch is awesome. It's game changing. Play it. Don't want to get too much into it because that'd take all night.
Yep. Mr. William,
I would recommend the Hotline Miami 2 soundtrack.
Oh, all right.
It's pretty badass.
That's Steve, man.
Yeah. Thanks, bro. What else have I been playing right now?
Any movies or anything you watched recently? I got another one, but if you got more time, I'll talk.
Yeah, go for it. You go too.
Definitely check out this movie called Cooties. We watched it recently. It is about infected chicken nuggets that turn little kids into zombies at a elementary school. And Elijah Wood, the teacher, has to escape along with Rainn Wilson and I don't know the other people, but pretty cool.
It was so much better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Mostly hilarious, but
right now I think it's only on digital right now because I don't think they've had a physical release since it is so low budget. But definitely check it out. I had a lot of laughs for it. I showed a lot of my friends and they seem to have enjoyed it. So
I'll recommend the closest thing you're going to get to a Metal Gear Solid movie, and that's Escape from New York.
All right, awesome. Definitely got Snake on it and everything. So definitely the inspiration for it. Well, it's been a very long podcast, but I definitely think it's been one of our best ones yet. So thank you guys for joining us. Please don't forget to like my Facebook page on.
Oh, dude, you forgot to hit record.
Damn it! Oh.
All right, man.
Crap.
That was great. I'll see you later.
I'm gonna start this all over again.
No, wait. I need you to. Can you hold on for like another hour, please?
Send my check in the mail. I'll see you later.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for joining us. Have a good night. Please like and subscribe.